الحمد لله وكفى والصلاة والسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى خصوصا على أفضلهم وخاتم النبيين محمد الأمين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبعد. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to all of you here at Kaisa Darus Salam in Damansara in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. Our topic is a very interesting one on Russia, Nato, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, Syria, and the Malhama in Akhir Al-Zaman. So you need politics, you need some knowledge of international affairs, and you need eschatology, which is Akhir Al-Zaman, Islamic eschatology. You need to be able to apply the Quran and the Hadith to the events which are unfolding in the world. That is not always an easy task. So let us begin. I hope you will excuse me, those of you who have heard me already. Just be patient because there are others who have not heard it. On methodology. Because there are those who will rush to say, we differ with Imran Hosein when I explain the Quran. So before you rush to reject what I say about the Quran, just take a little time, please, to understand methodology. It could save you a lot. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala taught methodology at the beginning of the Quran, when He ordered the Malaika, the angels, to make sajda to Adam alayhi salam. And I always wondered, why did He do that? Was it because of something which was there in Adam alayhi salam, that you had to make sajda to him? Or was it the other way around? Was it the other way around? You were going to test to see who are those who are arrogant and those who are not. But that's not our subject today. فَسَجَدُوا إِلَّا إِبْلِيسِ. They all made sajda except Iblis. If we use what I refer to as a schoolboy methodology, then we take the statement by itself in isolation. And since the order was given to the angels, and he refused, so he must have been an angel. He must have been an angel. Iblis must have been an angel, said the schoolboy. The schoolboy. Why? Because the schoolboy says the order was given to the angels, and they all obeyed except Iblis. So Iblis, according to the schoolboy, Iblis had to be an angel. Allah constructed the sentence this way to teach a lesson. Yes. When you announce that Iblis was an angel, then you start looking at other parts of the Quran. And then your face becomes pink, and then it becomes red with embarrassment. Why? Because Allah says about the angels, وَيَفْعَلُونَ مَا يُؤْمَرُونَ, that angels don't have a choice. When an angel is given an order, the angel must obey. Must obey. وَيَفْعَلُونَ مَا يُؤْمَرُونَ, says Allah in the Quran. And since he disobeyed, he could not have been an angel. See? Schoolboy is now scratching his head. Oh, I should not have gone so fast. I've used the wrong methodology, says the schoolboy. And then in Surah Al-Kahf, Allah says, وَكَانَ مِنَ الْجِنِّ. Iblis was a jinn. So the proper methodology is, don't take any verse of the Quran in isolation and announce the meaning. Don't take any hadith in isolation and declare, I have understood the subject. No. You have to go to the totality of the data, first in the Quran. And when you have done that, then you are able to understand better what Allah is saying in the Quran, having begun with this lesson in methodology. Now, does the Quran speak about Russia? Is there any reference in the Quran to Russia? Well, Russia is Orthodox Christian. All of Russia is Orthodox Christian. So now the question is there any reference in the Quran to Orthodox Christianity? Orthodox Christianity is different from the Western Christianity. And you know how I describe the difference, you know? That one says, you're not allowed to grow a beard. That one. They cut off the beard. But one man is allowed to keep his beard, and he's a big beard, white beard, and this fellow has hijacked Christmas. Now, Jesus, Nabi Isa alayhi salam, he has no role in Christmas anymore. And this fellow with a big white beard, he comes once a year on a reindeer. Name is Santa Claus. That's Western Christianity. And they celebrate Christmas on December 25th because they follow the Gregorian calendar. But this side doesn't have Santa Claus. And when you go to Russia, you'll see the beards. And when you go to Belgrade, as I was in Belgrade 2 weeks ago, you see the beards. And this side follows the Julian calendar, so their Christmas is in January. That's one of the easiest ways to distinguish the two. So Russia is Orthodox Christianity. Is there any reference in the Quran to Orthodox Christians? You'll be surprised. And now we come to the serious part of the lecture, so you have to put on your thinking caps now. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes a very, very, very important statement in the Quran. In Surah Al-Ma'idah. And I'm conscious that I'm not speaking only to this audience here, but I'm speaking to a lot of critics of mine on the internet around the world. So would they also listen carefully? It is in Surah Al-Ma'idah, and he says, بَعَدْ أَعُوذُ بِاللَّهِ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ لَتَجِدَنَّ, which is fi'l mudariya, which means present and future. Present and future. You will most certainly find, emphasis, you will most certainly find, now and in the future, what will you find? Now and in the future. أشد الناس عداوة للذين آمنوا اليهود. That the Jews would be the most hostile of all people to those who have faith in this Quran. But then that did happen in the time of the Prophet ﷺ. Oh yes, the Jews were the most hostile. وَالَّذِينَ أَشْرَكُوا. And in addition to the Jews, there were another people who were also the most hostile of all to the Muslims. And those were the people who were in shirk, the kuffar of Mecca. They had hostility and enmity and hatred easing out of their heads. They were so hostile. So this came to pass at that time. The Quran goes on to say that at the same time, when this is taking place, the greatest hatred and enmity and hostility, these two people, at the same time you'll find something else. Now and in the future. What? وَلَتَجِدَنَّ. And you will most certainly find now and in the future أَقْرَبَهُمْ مَوَدَّةً لِلَّذِينَ آمَنُوا الَّذِينَ قَالُوا إِنَّا نَصَارَى. That you will most certainly find now and in the future that those who will be closest in love and affection for you Muslims would be a people who say, we are Christians. No, nothing happens in the Quran by accident. Allah did not say, He did not say that you will most certainly find those who will be closest in love and affection to you would be Christians. He didn't say that. What did He say? He said, you will most certainly find those who will be closest in love and affection for you would be a people who say, we are Christians. Notice the language. Be careful. Nothing happens in this Quran by accident. The manner in which this statement is made is very important. ذلك بأن منهم القسيسين والرهبان وأنهم لا يستكبرون. And the reason why you will find these people to be closest in love and affection for you at the time when they have the greatest hatred and hostility for you is because they have priests amongst them. Authentic priesthood. The institution of the priesthood has been preserved amongst them. And they have monasticism, the monastery and the monks. And the institution of monasticism has been Rahbaniyya, has been preserved amongst them. وَأَنَّهُمْ لَا يَسْتَكْبِرُونَ. And they are not an arrogant people. They are not an arrogant people. Arrogance? Oh yes, we have a story by which we can know what is arrogance. Because He said, I am not going to bow and make sajda. No, sir. So Allah asked him, why not? When I ordered you to make sajda, why did you not make sajda, Iblis? And his reply was, I was created superior. My birthright is superiority. I am superior to him. I am white, he's black, so I'm superior. I'm rich, he's poor, so I'm superior. I'm tall, he's short, so I'm superior. I am Malay, he's Indian, so I'm superior. Shall I continue? Or should I stop now? That's arrogance. Anyone who believes that he is superior to another by virtue of birthright is arrogant. And when you are arrogant, out of Jannah. Get out. There is no place for arrogance in Jannah. So we know a thing or two about arrogance. And they are not an arrogant people. So now the question arises, who are these Christians? Who are these Christians? Schoolboy. The schoolboy says Allah is referring to all Christians. So Even George Bush and company in Washington, and Obama, and Holland, and all these fellows in Germany and France, they have all become closest in love and affection for you Muslims, says the schoolboy. Because you know the schoolboy is not following proper methodology. Proper methodology. If he was following proper methodology, he would see, no, that Christianity out there, the institution of the priesthood is falling apart. Many priests are in jail, and many others are not in jail because the Pope will not reveal the information. They make a deal. The institution of priesthood is losing its respect. People losing respect for the priests in the Western world. No. So many priests are pedophiles. And monasticism is no longer there, it's gone in the Western Christian world. The monastery is now, yes, McDonald's hamburgers and Pizza Hut. That's what the monastery, and a bingo hall. But on this side, the Orthodox Christian world, the institution of the priesthood has survived. The priest still has a status of high esteem and respect in the society. The priest still plays a significant role in the affairs of the society. And monasticism is still alive. The monasteries are held in great respect and very great love in that part of the world. Monasticism is still there. The schoolboy should have asked himself, can Allah be referring to these Christians as a people who are not arrogant? Western Christianity, which says of itself that we are a people who have been created by Allah, superior to the rest of the world. And we had to send our armies all over the world, including Malaya, and colonize the rest of the world in order to civilize them. Yeah. We had to civilize mankind. This is our mission in the world. This is arrogance. And we expect all of mankind to copy our way of life and become carbon copies of ourselves. So when we shave off the beard, then the sensible and intelligent and cultured and civilized thing for a Malay to do is shave off his beard, and a Pakistani to do is to shave off his beard, and an Arab to do is to shave off his beard, yeah? And when our women take off the head covering, the civilized thing to do is to take off your head covering. So it's banned in France. That's arrogance. Oh yes, that's arrogance. So Allah could not be speaking about the Western Christian and tell that to the schoolboy. But something more. This side of the world, the Orthodox Christian world, they never had an agenda of ruling the world. No. Never. They don't have their military bases all over the world, 600-700 military bases all over the world. They don't control every single naval port in the world. No. They don't have an agenda of ruling, establishing their political dominion and military dominion over all of mankind. No! The Orthodox Christians don't have that arrogance. But these do have it. But that's not all. When Allah said, you will most certainly find those who are closest in love and affection for you to be a people who say, we are Christians. What does it mean? Answer, These are a people who would proudly identify themselves as Christians. Proudly identify themselves as Christians. We are Christians. Their primary loyalty is to Christianity. That is the implication. Qalu inna Nazar. Who are those Christians today? Not Western Christianity, where you have been secularized. So your religion is now your private affair. As for when you go home and for Sunday morning in the church, the rest of the time, the state is in control. So we are Americans. We are French. We are Germans. Not we are Christians. So this is the way Allah is helping the schoolboy to recognize, to eliminate this part of the Christian world. That these are not the ones that Allah is speaking about. Then who are those who He is speaking about? This side of the Christian world looks very much to be the people Allah is referring to. Are you going to contradict the Quran because of blood-stained history for 600-700 years? Is that your methodology? That history can contradict the Quran? I think they got homework to do in Bosnia. They got homework to do in Albania, and in Kosovo, and in Macedonia, and in Montenegro, and in Serbia. You got homework to do. You cannot use history to contradict the Quran. The Quran is the word of Allah. It is the Quran which has to be used to interpret history. So now you can understand why the Ottoman Empire waged ceaseless wars of aggression and oppression, unjust wars on the Orthodox Christians for 500-600 years, to create a legacy of hatred and bitterness for Islam. If Imran Hosein was an Orthodox Christian living in that part of the world, I would hate Islam. I would consider Islam to be the religion of the oppressor. I would despise Islam. That's how I would feel. Why can't they understand? But the minute you go to the Orthodox Christians and you tell them the Ottoman Empire was an oppressor, and that was not Islam. The Ottoman Empire was created by Dajjal, empowered by Gog and Magog, and used 500-600 years of bogus jihad to try to sabotage what Allah had ordained in the Quran. That these are the people who will be closest in love and affection for you. That is what happened at that time. Because when our people were being persecuted and being killed, the Prophet ﷺ told them, go to Abyssinia. There's a just king. Allah will put it in his heart to protect you. And the first hijrah was to Orthodox Christianity. And when Makkah sent their people to try to get the slaves repatriated, no, the king said, no, I will never do that. I'll never give them up. And so we see love and affection at that time amongst the Orthodox Christians. Today, after 1400 years, once again, the Jews have become what they were at the time of the Prophet ﷺ. This did not happen for 1,000 years. For more than 1,000 years, the Jews lived amongst us Muslims in peace and in mutual respect. Oh yes. It is only after the Zionist movement was established in 1897, only then that we now see the Jews re-emerging to be what they were at that time, a people who have the greatest hatred and enmity and hostility for Islam. And of course, tell the schoolboy for me, Allah is not speaking about all Jews. No, there are Jews who stand up to the oppressor. But Israel today is the greatest oppressor state in the world. Worse even than the United States. That's terrible. And at the same time that Israel and the Jews have become the greatest oppressors, hatred and enmity for Islam at this time, so to another people who are built on shirk, they are also displaying the same hatred and enmity and hostility. Who are they? It is those who control power in modern Western civilization. They're waging war on Islam and they call it war on terror. They're waging war on Islam and they call it war on terror. So at the same time that this is happening, the Quran is saying that you will find a Christian people who will now become closest in love and affection for you. This is your book speaking, the Quran. This is the proper, correct methodology which is being used to explain the Quran. If I am wrong, you must tell me what is right. You cannot simply say that Imran is wrong without saying what is right. I went to Moscow 2 years ago, after the Ottoman Empire had waged endless wars, unjust wars, jihad against Russia. And the Tatar in Crimea were slave raiders, enslaving the Russians and selling them as slaves for hundreds of years. And the Russians hated Islam for that. And had I been a Russian, I would also hate Islam for that. But lo and behold, when I went to Russia 2 years ago, and they knew my profile, that I denounced the Ottoman Empire for what they did. I denounced their taking the Hagia Sophia Cathedral and converting it into a masjid. I said it was disgraceful, it was shameful, it was manifestly sinful. And the news reached Russia. And so many other things I said, and they were pleased. And when I reached there, I found them to be a people showing respect for me. And more than that, showing affection for me. And showing respect for Islam. This is what I found in Russia. And 3 weeks ago, I went to the capital city of the Balkans, which is Belgrade, Serbia. And there was hatred for Islam to such an extent because the Ottoman Empire ruled over Belgrade for 400 years. 400 years. So when the Ottomans were removed, they destroyed every masjid that there was in Belgrade and left only one masjid standing. Up to now, there's only one masjid in Belgrade. All the rest are destroyed because of the hatred for Islam. But when they heard of my profile and what I said about the Ottoman Empire, what I said about Hagia Sophia, look at what happened when I arrived in Belgrade. About 3 weeks ago. I was invited by the Serbian Academy of Science and Arts, which is one of the very prestigious organizations in Belgrade. And they wanted me to speak on Islamic banking. But when they heard about my book on Islam and the future of the money, they changed the topic. They said, speak on this one. And I went there and there was a distinguished gathering. If I had known who these people were, I'd have got some cold feet. But I didn't know who they were. Afterwards I was told, this man is from the central bank. This one is a former foreign minister. This one is an ambassador and so on. And they received my lecture with not only friendship and esteem and respect, but they were learning from me. And then I was invited to the University of Belgrade. which is the most prestigious institution in Belgrade. You can't go to Belgrade University to lecture on religion. No, not in the secular society. And there was I, in a gown and a hat, lecturing on Islamic eschatology, and nobody came, no policeman came to remove me. When I arrived in the auditorium of the university, I found people standing in the hallway because there was no space in fact. The auditorium was packed, no space. And when I entered the auditorium for the first time in my life, it happened. Never happened before. The whole auditorium erupted in prolonged and loud applause, welcoming me. How did it happen? Huh? The first time they're seeing me. They did that because they knew about me from the internet. And they liked what they heard. This was a man